And hi, everyone. Welcome back to another Parent Pivot podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Steve Cummings,
And I'm Julia Cummings.
and we are coming to you today from a very humid and rainy Georgia.
Very rainy. It's actually quite miserable.
Yeah. So
And it's summer, so
It's
we
summer.
have been inconsistent.
with new content, but we've got a lot of you have not listened to all the podcasts, so we're taking some of the best of.
Right.
So while we go on vacation, which tell them what we're doing this next weekend.
Yes. So this weekend, and I think we've mentioned it
We
before.
mentioned the podcast. We talked about Julia's mom.
So this Wednesday is my mom's 95th birthday. And on Friday, we will be heading to Niagara Falls, where my mom wants to zip line over Niagara Falls. So
yeah, it's not really like we're not going over the falls.
It's kind of parallel.
Yeah, don't think of like Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible type of thing. That's not what's happening. It's parallel to the falls and things. But that was her idea. So there's like about, I don't know, 15 family members going, maybe more, including nieces, nephews, and things like that. So we're looking forward to it.
We'll see if somehow we can post a picture or something.
What was a t-shirt she says she has? It's like, I see no reason why I have to act my own age.
Yeah, my age or something.
My age and stuff. So anyway,
like that. So
so we're going to go do that. So pray for us. Pray that we do come back with more podcasts next week, which we will. But today, sweetheart, what are we going to talk about?
We are talking about being a disruptor.
Woohoo! Yay! Finally, type A personalities. We get to disrupt our adult kids, right?
Well, kind of. So I was having a conversation with a client a few weeks ago. You know who you are if you're listening. And I'm not going to say any names. And we were talking about just the idea of being a disruptor. And I said, I'm going to use that on our podcast. Because the idea that I am giving is we have a way of operating. Did I just hit the mic? Sorry. We have a way of operating in our families, individually and as a group.
And we settle into norms.
Right. And we have, we talk a lot about dances and marriages. Well, we also have those dances within our family units. Oftentimes there's the comedic person, there's the truth teller person, there's the more sensitive person, just different roles that we all kind of take on with our families. And so the idea is, as the person who's listening to this podcast, in the case of my client, it was her, and suggesting to her that she be a disruptor in her family, that she disrupts the way it operates and forces change by her changing. So in this sense, let's say you have a family, and this is more often than not, this is the case with most families, where we are not a family that talks about things. We sweep things under the rug.
That's what my family did for years. Conflict was never addressed. My mom would yell at me growing up, and then things, and I'd get sent to my room, and then we come back out. It's like the sky parted, the clouds were gone, and we never went back to have any type of conversation about what just happened. There's no processing.
Right. But then you might also have the family where there is no conflict because everybody's a conflict avoider.
Right.
So in whatever case, we are a family who doesn't really know how to talk about things. And when we do, it is so uncomfortable. It is so awkward. The fear is that it will explode and things like that. So my advice to you, if this is the case, you are the podcast listener, you are the one that's listening, you are the one that can make the changes, and that lies within you. So if you choose to be different, say there is something going on in your family that you feel like needs addressing, maybe you don't want to start by having a family meeting,
right?
But maybe you want to get together with your adult child and have a conversation. And within that, this is not a I'm going to confront you
Right. This
because
is not an aggressive, intentional, hey, by
no,
golly, I'm going to disrupt everything and we're going to do this new
no,
way of a family of relating to each other.
no.
That's not what you're saying. Even though the word disruptor,
You're just
I know.
disrupting the normal
I
flow.
got you.
You're in some cases you might be upsetting the apple cart.
I got you.
Um, but you might want to sit down with your child or adult child or your spouse or whomever and just say, hey, I realize I need to do some changing in the way I communicate. And so I really wanted to sit down with you and have a conversation. I see this going on in the family, and I'm just wondering what you think.
Get their perspective.
Get their perspective. You're not there to confront,
And you're
to,
not there to fix.
yeah,
You're
none
kind of
of
there to
that.
take some notes and it sounds like you're there to take some notes and get some information.
Right.
Saying, what's it like to be in this family? You can say anything you want. You're not going to hurt my feelings, dad's feelings, whatever. But tell me what you see.
Right. And so that's the difference is that maybe we're not used to asking those questions and we're not used to sitting across from somebody and actually having an in-depth conversation about how we feel about something. So that's where you're disrupting the norm.
Yeah, and you know where my heart goes to as I hear you say it, sweetie, is that's kind of what
Head
God
itches.
does with his love and his grace. We can sit in fear, but he disrupts those fears by saying, that's not how I see you at all. I see you as someone that I love. You can't do your beloved daughter, your beloved son, and he disrupts what Satan's trying to get done. And you know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
how I'm thinking of this new way of using the word disrupt.
Right.
It's not an aggressive move towards, like we said, pound the table. I'm here to do that. But as we change and as we get information to fill in the gaps, because we may be the only one that sees it.
Right.
Yeah. What happens?
Absolutely.
What happens if you go to that conversation and everything's fine?
Then everything's fine. But at least you have done something different.
Do you do this with
So
all the kids in the family?
sure.
Okay.
It also just may be, gosh, I want to sit down with my adult child and tell them how wonderful they are. Maybe that's not something that you typically do. So I just want to tell them they're awesome and I'm so proud of you. And tell me about how work is going. Tell me about whatever. It's more about disrupting the norm if the norm is not having in-depth conversations. So even if you are normally saying, hey, how's work and whatever, and we kind of do this where we're talking about work.
The weather and
Yeah.
work and just all the surface level stuff.
Right. But maybe we tag on to the end of that as they tell us how something is. So how are you feeling about that? What are your thoughts on that?
Here's a good question. Tell me more.
Tell me more.
Because you don't want to leave an open-ended question, like she said. Tell me how that made you feel. Tell me more. Leave it open-ended, so that because if they're not used to answering questions, they're just going to stop short because they're going to feel uncomfortable.
Right.
And you kind of want them. I mean, make some scones or peanut butter cookies or something like that, and you'll get me talking as much as you want.
Yeah, you never know.
Blueberry scones.
The thing is in your family what the norm is, how it operates. And so the idea, again, I'm just going to reiterate this over and over again, is that you're changing something in the way you operate.
Right.
You are not asking the person on the other side to change something about the way they operate or anything. It will naturally happen because you are changing the way that you operate. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. So it's looking at what could possibly be some things that need to adjust. And like I say, they're unhealthy, but we all have dysfunctional families.
Sure.
And if we're not aware, then we just kind of settle into this norm. And what I hear you saying is we don't have to settle. We don't have to settle. If you've been listening to the podcast for we're completing our third year this year and doing that and don't have any plans to quit and things. But as you listen to all that, even as I'm thinking about our book, which I'm holding right here, if you haven't gotten a copy yet, it's just simply called The Parent Pivot. It's available on Amazon. and we give you 13 principles to build stronger relationships with your adult children. And really, each one of those is kind of a disruptor.
Yeah, definitely.
If you think about
Yeah.
that, if you're looking like, well, what is it you're talking about? Hey, get a copy of the book, go to Amazon, type in the Parent Pivot book, and that'll come up. We make zero money off of this. In fact, I still have yet to see one Abe Lincoln
No.
from this, so we make no money from it. In fact, we're going to donate some copies to another organization who's going to distribute them and things like that. We just come with a heart to want to help. And things.
And so actually, this would be a really great starting point for what we're talking about, because this is more in a journal form.
Right.
It does have chapters and things that we talk about, but it mostly is that kind of almost the way a devotional would get
Right.
you thinking about something, and then asking questions and kind of asking you to think about your own adult children and how you've operated and things like that. So that might actually be a really great starting
Good starting
point.
And you don't have to knock them all out like, okay, I'm going to go disrupt my family and work on it.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe pick one. Because even as I heard you talking, I'm asking my adult child for their input, and I may have to be prepared to own something.
Sure, if that came up in a conversation.
If it
came up. I'm not looking for that to happen, though,
No.
in this situation. I'm looking more for just a deeper than normal conversation. Also, looking for the opportunity for you to approach your adult child with what is going on in your life. So if you are vulnerable and you are sharing what's going on in your life. So let's say for me, if our family talks all the time, but that's because I'm here.
Very true. I will champion that.
But let's say we didn't, and I'm mom, and I've hit my 50s, 60s. I'm an empty nester. I am having a crisis of sorts. I am going through hormonal changes. I am feeling lonely. I am all kinds of things. This is what happens to moms in their 50s and 60s, and some even in their later 40s. So as things happen like that, that's something that you want to share with them. Just say, as you start this conversation, hey, I am in a crisis of sorts. And excuse me if I get emotional, because I am feeling emotional about all of this. There's a lot of stuff going on inside of my head, and I just really want to sit down with you and share my heart. I want to share what I'm going through. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to fix anything. You don't even have to say anything. I just want to share. And I miss you. I desire to be closer to you and have a good relationship with you. If there's something you want to share with me, great. If just opening that line of conversation.
Yeah. So it's almost like, again, you're shifting, you're pivoting from being that parent where we kept everything private. We just talked behind closed doors when we had conflict. We weren't out in front of the kids, and we wanted them to, not experience any of the negative stuff like that. To our point in there, hey, you are mature enough, and I trust you enough. And I'm going to start off by being the one to initiate. If you don't already do this already, I'm going to be the disruptor by opening the door, because I'm going to learn to be real, authentic, and vulnerable as the occasion arises. So again, don't force it. You're looking for the opportunity, right?
Yes. And I'm not looking for you now for every time you get together with your adult children that you are suddenly crying and having a deep conversation and blah, 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 blah. That might send your kids away too.
Yeah, they might go to dad. What happened to mom?
Like, I can't handle any more depth.
Yeah, I think being a disruptor and changing family norms is a slow process.
Yeah.
Rather than an abrupt process.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah, but go ahead and just get together with your family individually and just have conversations. It's really just all that's about.
We had one today with our son he was in an airport in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And he was sharing about, he went on a 10-sport challenge, which he's done for the last 3 or 4 years. It's all done in one day.
It's been longer than that.
Some friends, they do 10 sports in one day.
Yeah.
But anyway, he had hurt his foot, and we were talking to him, and I heard a little bit of mother come out of you because he had hurt his foot.
Yes.
Get
Oh,
some
definitely.
ibuprofen and some ice on that right away, and I will send you the money for it, which she did. Because in an airport, ibuprofen is not cheap.
Right.
$10.
$10. Yeah.
And stuff. But we had a good conversation because we asked how did it go with his production company that he's got going, and things were happening. And we just got to listen to that. We got to just champion that. Now, our family, we do that as a norm anyway.
Right.
So that's something that comes normal for us. But it gives us the opportunity to continue to speak life into him. And we share stuff about us all the time, and they know that.
And excuse me. And in all honesty, this is a child that we talked to the least. Jackson.
Right.
Jackson just
send a text message. You might be lucky to get a response in a week.
And it's not indicative of how he feels about us.
No, not at all.
It's just he is just an independent soul who is doing his own
Doesn't
thing.
love us any less. See, that's another thing that kind of came up recently in some other scenario. But you send a text message, and a lot of times our expectation is they're always, because they are always looking at their phone.
Right.
That's the picture I have. So it's like, I sent a text message. Why didn't they respond? And sometimes we have to give them grace because they could see it and read it, but they don't have time to respond. And then they forget about it. That happens to me all the time.
And I've done that. Or I've even accidentally opened one and not read it and then realized days later, oh my gosh, I missed this text.
Right. So I don't mean to go down a rabbit trail, but in doing that, it's like I don't want to remain offended because it's like they very well could have forgotten about it. I might circle back and put a question mark on it. And they go, oh yeah, I forgot. Or one of our sons, I forgot to send. Okay. I don't know what that has to do with being a disruptor.
I've done that too.
Yeah, but the greatest thing right now is to sit back and relax and chill and be an empty nester. And if you've got kids going off to college and you're not quite there yet, you're kind of in that middle point where are they going to boomerang back? Are they coming back?
And this is the month that everybody's going away to college for the first time. So we may be having some parents out there who are really struggling with that.
Yeah, in fact, you know what? Maybe for next week, I will put in the Best of the Parent Pivot podcast on talking about that subject, because now that we're coming into that zone, we are going to be traveling back from the Niagara Falls if Steve makes it across the falls. If a 95-year-old woman can do it, I think a 63-year-old man can do it.
I would
She's
think so.
She's kind of showing us up a little bit.
She is.
It's not on my bucket list to go zoom across like that.
More than one way. Yes, definitely. And then after that, we are traveling to, just so y'all know, we are traveling to California and up to Reno, Nevada to see.
We're going to see
boys.
the grandkids, and we're going to do exactly what we talk about on the podcast.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
And things. So
we'll be. I mean, I think we will have the best of for like the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We'll be on this week.
We might take the microphone with us. So don't just sit there and tune us out. I might bring the microphone with us.
Mm-hmm.
Just here, look at me, because I don't want to record while we're traveling.
It's just too much to think about. Sorry, guys.
We're having husband-wife conversations here while we record a podcast.
Yes.
But anything else you want to add?
No, I want you to think about that. Today at our church, on every January they do Rock Sunday, where they put out rocks and they ask you to pray about a word that God gives you for the year and to put it down on your rock.
Yeah, and you know what? I think I want to change mine because this is my word. And God is really showing me something. It's called Unoffendable, and it was written by Brant Hansen. And
we've talked about it many times.
We talked about it many times. That was my word. Anyway, you're going somewhere. Today was Rock Sunday.
Anyway,
Rock Sunday
I have not had a word this year. My rock is still blank. But today in church, they're calling it Mulligan Month.
Mulligan Month.
And so they're talking about, hey, if you didn't have a word, maybe you need to, or maybe you had one, but you feel like you need to change it for the year, or maybe you haven't had one, or whatever. In any case, this would be a great word to write on your rock.
True.
Have your word of the year if you haven't had one.
Or the next 6 months.
How can I be a disruptor? And again, in a positive sense, not a I'm going to confront everybody.
And then a grandchild or adult child will see that sitting somewhere and going, hey, why is there a rock here with the word disruptor on it?
Yeah.
And you'll get a chance to start disrupting.
Yeah.
On you, gently, with grace and stuff. So,
yeah.
Again, a good place to start if you want to pick up a copy of the Parent Pivot book. It's available on Amazon. I think it's only like $10, $9.99.
Something like that.
And again, we make no money off of it. In fact, I have no idea who makes any money off of it.
Amazon, I believe.
Amazon, there you go. So get a copy, we'll put it in the show notes, and check us out on our social media. You know, it really helps us when you put and actually write a review. If you are on iOS or Apple iPhones and you've got the podcast thing, if you could give us a 5-star rating, put a review on there, that's great. We're also available for speaking engagements. We've had different speaking engagements coming up. And so you can get a hold of us at parentpivotpodcast@gmail.com. And find us on social media. Our daughter is our director of social media marketing. And we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. What else? That's it.
I think that's
I haven't been on any of those, so I don't know what's going on. She just makes us record stuff and we send it out. So like us, share us, get a copy of the book, and join us again next week for another edition of the Parent Pivot Podcast.
And enjoy the best of that we are posting.
Yes.
If you haven't listened before.
All right, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.